Okay, let me pull the chat back up. So, everybody, we're going to be creating this altered box tonight, and this is just a little generic paper mache box. The one that I did here, I got from Michael's, but the one that I'm altering tonight, my mother found for me around Christmas time. It was like red and green. I just put some gesso on top of it, and we're going to cover it with paper, so it really doesn't matter what it looks like underneath. So you can use any box. Let me go ahead and give some announcements really quickly before I forget that. Okay, so our next show coming up is on Tuesday, July the 14th, and it will be Mr. Frank Garcia. He will be creating a fabulous layout using one of the brand new collections with some really fun embellishments. You guys are going to love the new collections coming out. They're super, super gorgeous. Okay, then we have Art Venture Anaheim, January 6th and 7th, 2016. Join us for this fantastic event. It will be the best one yet. Go to I'm going to post the link. Let me see if I can post it here because that's a lot to type out. But anyway, I'll go ahead and say it. It's www.regonline.com. I think Carrie can post a link for y'all because I know obviously that's going to be a little too hard for y'all to type in. But all the art ventures have been amazing thus far, and I so wish I could go to one. So if any of you ladies go, take me with you, and I will be a very happy camper. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'll go ahead and give an overview really quickly of the box. And if anybody has any questions as we go along, Delana and Carrie will be here moderating to help you. So we're going to be using 2 of the new stencils, some of the new flower sprays, which are amazing. I'm absolutely in love with them. So we're going to be using those. I think pretty much everything on here is new with the exception of a few like resin pieces and stuff. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you. I like this die a lot. I didn't even know I had it. It was like Christmas Day when I went looking for punches and I found that one. So I'm going to push this to the side and we're going to go ahead and get started. And to prep, I went ahead and did a few things. First, like I said, I don't know if you can tell from the bottom of the box because I've only got 1 coat of gesso, but this thing was like a dark red burgundy with some Christmas box. So, I mean, this was no brand new box or anything. So I just primed it with gesso. I've went ahead and prepped some of my paper pieces because when you're using modeling paste and inks and misting and stuff, it tends to get, it takes a while to dry, and I don't want to sit here with a heat tool for forever. So I went ahead and did some of my pieces with the modeling paste, but I'm going to show you how I did each one. For me, when I'm altering anything curved like this, it is just easier for me if I'm going to do this step to do it while the paper's cut flat. Otherwise, you're trying to hold a stencil on a curved surface and get the modeling paste in there, and it just becomes a nightmare. So a quick tip for me is just to go ahead, cut my paper pieces out, go ahead and do all the mediums that I want to do to them, and then I can glue them on, and it makes it way easier. So that's what I did here. So I've got a couple of the pieces already done, but we're going to do one together just so you can get the gist of what I'm doing here. And I've got some wet gesso there. Excuse me really quickly. Okay, so we're using 2 of the brand new stencils. Let me get the names here. We're going to be using Fluttering Flowers, which is item number 579890, and this stencil is so pretty. Let me hold it against here. Hopefully you guys can see it. It is amazing. It's just really textured. It's super gorgeous. This is probably my favorite one. It's hard to pick, but I really love the texture on this. It's just amazing. So we're going to be using that one, and then we're going to be using Wild Roses, which is 579920, and this one is so incredibly beautiful. I mean, that is like prima to a T right there. It's so perfect. I love it. So those are the 2 stencils that we're going to be using. I think, who knows, I might pop out another one. I don't know, but so far that's what we're using. Okay, so like I said, I usually cut my papers, and all of these have been gessoed with clear gesso. I always do that step first because it just makes the mediums hold wet better, makes the paper not warp. So my first step is always to coat with clear gesso. Okay, so after that, I'm going to be using some of the Art Basics modeling paste. This is the opaque matte white, and the item number is 961411. I am so in love with this modeling paste too. It's super creamy, as you can see. So I'm going to just use a little spatula and just spread this on here. I know we all know how to do this, nothing fancy here. I know some people prefer to use like old credit cards. I've got a couple of like I guess, fancy tools for spreading mediums, but I always tend to go back to this little cheap plastic one that I got at Walmart. It's like my go-to spreader. That's what I'm going to call it. It's my spreader. All right, so I am just doing an even coat of this. I'm going to do a thinner layer than I did on the initial box, just because obviously the thicker you do this, the longer it's going to take to dry. So I'm going to do a thinner layer than I did originally. So it might not be as white or as raised and as textured, but we need it to dry a little bit quicker. And plus, you guys get the gist. So this is what we've got. Super pretty. I mean, how gorgeous is that stencil? It's just super, super, super pretty. All right, let me scrape up this excess because I hate to waste. Okay, now we're going to do the top of my box. I'm going to wipe a little bit of this excess off of my stencil real quick. I'm trying to stop using so many paper towels, so I'm trying to use some of Chris's shop rags. We'll see how it works tonight. Because, I mean, I literally go through paper towels like crazy. I'm super, super wasteful, so. Okay, so for the top part, I went ahead and left it blank, but I did gesso it first with clear gesso. And I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm focusing on this area, though, because this side is going to have embellishments, and we don't really want to waste all our product, so I'm just going to focus on the right side of my box. Hello, Joanne. Hello, hello. If I miss anybody, I'm sorry ahead of time. I know I always say that, but it's hard for me to keep up with the chat. So if somebody says hi to me and I don't say hi back, please don't think I'm intentionally doing it. I just can't multitask. So, okay. So I just pretty much did it on that side and left this blank because I didn't want to waste. Let me get the excess off the edges. And this modeling paste, what I love about it is it dries really, really quickly. A lot of different brands, and I'm not just being biased, they just take a long time to dry. So I love that. The Art Basics modeling paste dries very quickly. All right, so let me clean my stencil off because it is brand new and I want to take care of it. I mean, I should go clean it right away in the sink, but since that's not going to happen. Okay, so let me stick that stencil to the side. Now, these are going to have to dry, so I'm going to set that to the side for just a minute, and we will work on our other pieces. In fact, I'll take the lid off, and we can adhere the bottom pieces. Okay, these are already prepped for me. They are done with the clear gesso, and they are done with the modeling paste, and it's dried. So you can see if you do a thin layer, like I did a lot thinner one there, so it's not as raised and it's not as white, but that's what we've got so far. So now I'm going to use the other stencil. And what I did is I'm going to take a couple of different chalk edgers. I'm using, let's see here, the Branch Bark one. And I'm just going to, I have a glass mat right here that I work on. And I'm just going to give it a couple of pounces. And then I'm going to use the, excuse me, I'm going to use the Lime Pie one. And again, I'm just going to do a couple of pounces there. And then I'm just going to give a tiny little spritz of water, not a lot at all, just enough to kind of get these two mixed together. Because I wanted like this perfect color that I was going for that matched the paper. And this is what I ended up doing to get it. You could use your bloom sprays, you could use the chalk edgers by themselves, whatever you want to do. Alright, so all I'm going to do, and make sure you do have your paper clear gessoed, because otherwise I find any wet medium tends to seep under the stencil a lot worse if you don't have gesso on there. So all I'm going to do is go in different areas with my little stencil here. I'm just going to dip my finger, hold it flat, and just use it to pounce on top of there. Don't get too much or it will seep under. I'm just going for a little bit of added texture, and I had to use this stencil. I mean, you could pounce your chalk edger right on top of there, but since I'm blending two colors, this is the option I went for. So just keep doing that until you get enough coverage. Alright, hopefully you guys can see that. It's very subtle. It almost blends in with the paper line, so it's kind of subtle. But once you get everything on there, you can see it a lot better. Hello, Tiffany. Thank you for making it. Hello, Robbie. I used to work at Michael's. I don't know if anybody's asking me that, but that used to be my job. Now my job is to stay at home and craft, you know, I babysit and do nanny stuff. And then I keep my niece and nephew all the time, so they keep me busy. Alright, so I'm just going all the way around, using my finger because it's the best tool that we have. And I don't even know if you guys can see that, but I definitely can. It's very subtle, but it blends in with the paper perfectly. And it just gives a little bit of extra interest to the paper line. These are going to go around the edge of our lid, so I'm going to line those up, do a little bit there. And the longer you let that sit, it kind of thickens up and it won't seep under your stencil as much. You could even mix a little bit of modeling paste. You could do whatever you wanted with it. Okay, so I'm just pouncing this just to get some good coverage. And then when I have all my papers adhered, if I feel like another spot needs a little more, I can always go in and add some more. Alright, so we're going to start adhering our papers to the boxes. The one that we just did, we're going to let that dry. It's going to go on the back side of the box, so if it's not dry yet, it's no big deal. But for now, we're going to go ahead and adhere our papers to our boxes. I'm going to be using the matte gel to do so. I mean, I'm out of this tub already and I just got it. This is the transparent 3D matte gel, and the product number is 961398. Hello Barbara, hello Mildred, hello Thandar. I hope I pronounced that correctly because we've been friends on Facebook for forever, but hey, I could be pronouncing it wrong. So I'm literally just using my finger. For some reason, I'm just in the mood to use this tonight. So I'm just going to spread this. Actually, no, I'm not. Hold on. Let me finish spreading that. I'm going to use this because it's brand new and it's awesome. I'm going to use the new Finnabar paint brushes, which I am in love with. The product number for those is 962760. I've got a couple missing out of there right now. They're soaking in the cups because I've been using them up. But I absolutely love them, so why not use them? Alright, so I'm just going to spread my matte gel on the back of my paper, and I'm being very liberal with it because I want this to adhere very well onto my paper mache. So I'm putting a very generous coat of this stuff on the back of my paper. And I tend to do it on the paper instead of on the box, so I know I'm putting it exactly where I need it, basically. I'm going to move that really quickly, clean up any excess gel so I don't have a huge mess. I didn't want to ruin my pretty Prima matte, so I got my yucky glass mat out to use. Alright, so I'm just going to start spreading this around the base. And this is just so much quicker to do it this way instead of worrying about trying to hold a stencil curved. I'm sure we've all done it. If you're altering a curved surface, it's really hard. I mean, I've done it a million times. As an afterthought, decided to add modeling paste and stuff, and it's so hard to hold the stencil curved and get it on there. So this just makes it way easier. Alright, that stuff automatically tacks, like it is already on there very well. That's one thing I love about the matte gel. So that's not going anywhere. I'm just making sure it's nice and even all the way around. And we are good to go. Give it a little press. So make sure your modeling paste is dry, of course, otherwise you're going to be putting your fingerprints in here. Aw, thank you, Carrie. My little country accent. So this is what we have so far. I don't know if you guys can even tell where I use that stencil. Like I said, it's really subtle. It's really subtle, but it's there. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere my strips around the top, and we'll leave the back part that we did. We'll adhere that at the end. It's no big deal. That's not bothering me for now. Okay, yes, I have a very bad accent. I'm from Tennessee, and I've lived in Florida for a long time, but the accent just stays with me. Which, if anybody's ever been down to Panama City, this is a pretty country area anyway. So, I blend right in here. But then I talk to my family from back home, and to me, they sound incredibly country, and I don't, but to other people, I still do. Alright, so I'm adding this around the lid instead of on the paper for some odd reason. I swear, when you're doing a live show, it's like you just forget everything. Typically, I just add it to the paper. All right. I'm adding a very generous amount. That's why I'm almost out of this stuff already. I usually skimp on product, but not with my matte gel. Okay. So I'm just gonna line that up. Started hearing it around. And did you guys see the blog today for the new Finnabair stuff? I don't know if y'all have been paying attention to the blog, but for the last week, 2 weeks, it's been sneak peeks, and they have all been so much fun. Something to get excited about. I know we all probably have a ton of products in our stash, but it's always exciting to get the new stuff, so. All right. Let me add the back piece that is on there. Just like that. I love altering boxes. It's definitely like my favorite thing to do. There's just something so fun about altering a little box, giving it away as a gift. My mom must have like 50 altered boxes, but she loves them. Okay, let me add my last strip here, and we can start adding embellishments. I will have to heat set this lid a little bit because it's still really wet. Okay. And I think I'm going to go back to using paper towels already. My hands feel all gunky. I think I remember why I use paper towels now. They just seem to work better. Okay. Alright, our lid is ready to go. I am going to heat set the modeling paste on top really quickly to get it dry so we can add all of our embellishments. I'm going to go ahead and add my lid on here. And you do have to be careful with these boxes sometimes. The lid won't fit on there properly if you put too much bulk at the bottom, but this one fits just perfectly. So as a second thought, just kind of skip the modeling paste toward the top portion of your paper, and that will make sure that that doesn't happen. All right, so here's what we have so far. Let me get my heat gun real quick. And this is not a heat gun, this is a paint stripper. And I took it from my boyfriend's shop about 2 years ago. It like triples your heating time, the speed of it, so I haven't gone back to my regular heat tool since I had this one, because it's super fast. And it will melt anything it touches. It's pretty bad, but it works good. Okay. That is good enough for me. I don't want to heat it to the point where it starts bubbling, so that is good enough for me. Okay, so here's what we have so far. And even though I already prepped it once with clear gesso, I'm going to do a really quick coat of it just to make sure everything's nice and primed. I am going to be using my favorite alcohol inks and other gessos and stuff, so I just want to make sure it's nice and prepped. And the modeling paste will keep that white color a lot better if you put a coat of clear gesso on top of it. Otherwise, alcohol inks will pretty much cover up that white. So I'm just doing a rough coat because I've already done it once. And I love the way that clear gesso makes it feel. Gives it this very gritty texture, and I really like that. Okay. Alright, we are good to go. Alright, let me get my orientation right here. You know how you want certain parts of the box to show on the front? There we go. Okay, one more heat set. Joanne, that is awesome. I don't have anybody that is crafty, like anywhere around me. So it's always, I just wish anybody would come and craft with me. I mean, I have the kids I keep and stuff. They love to craft, and my niece and nephews, but it's different. Sometimes I want an adult to craft with. Okay, so I'm going to start with a little bit more texture adding. I'm going to use some regular gesso, and I don't have any of the Prima gesso right now, so I'm just using some regular gesso. I'm going to add some water to it, just one little squirt. Let me get one of these smaller brushes. This is the 1/2 inch new brush from Finnabair. It's got a angled tip. So I'm just going to mix those together like this. And I'm just going to go on the edges like that. Add a little bit more water, just let it kind of run. And all this is going to do is just kind of soften up the paper a little bit and just add some more texture and add some more dimension. Just give it a little bit more interest. You can do some thicker spots of gesso, some thinner ones. Restock the memory craft albums. That's a good question. For you ladies who can do mini albums, you get my respect, because like I've said, they are my weakness. I cannot do them. Alright, so I'm just letting it run. I like to just kind of let it do its thing. Same thing with alcohol ink. Just let the water hit it, and I try not to control it too much. So I don't know if you can tell, but you've got these whitewashed areas here, and it just adds some different, a different look there. Alright, so I'm going to go around the sides and do the same thing. I'm going to add a little bit more water. And I tend to focus on the edges and then let it run from there. And I will be covering the bottom of this with paper, by the way. I always finish a project off. Okay, so I'm not being particular at all. I'm just adding some gesso, spraying a little bit of water, and letting it run, letting it do its thing. Just kind of creates a little washed out, shabby chic more look. And if you didn't have that clear gesso on there, it would be warping your paper right now, and it just doesn't do as well. So make sure you prep it with gesso. Alright, I think that is good enough for me. I'll do a little bit more over here just so we're not wasting any product. And we're going to have this gap here for a minute, y'all, because like I said at the beginning when I did the modeling paste, it's going to take a minute to dry. So don't think I'm going to leave that gap there. I promise I'm not. I wouldn't do that. Alright, I'm going to go along these edges really quickly. And I don't know about y'all, but this is the debutante paper. I probably should have told you guys that, huh? I always opt for the A4 pads just because I'm not a layout person. So for me doing ultra art, the A4 pads are just much better. So the product number for that is 847326. That is the Debutante A4 pad, and I'm using this little piece right here. Every single piece in that pad is so stunning. I'm just so in love with this paper. Guard and Fable too. I mean, they're just two of the best collections ever in my opinion. Yes, I'm adding gesso. Leaving it thicker in some areas and letting it kind of wash out in others. Alright, we got 2 more steps before we can add any embellishments. I don't know about y'all, but I've gone crazy with the micro beads, as you can see on this original box. I'm so in love with all of the micro beads. I've just been using them on everything. So we're going to use like a gazillion of those. But first, we're going to add a little bit of alcohol ink. And I've just got a couple of different brown tones. And the new bottles, some of them don't say the color on them. So I can't even tell you the color, but you guys can see. They're just browns. My old bottle does say caramel, and this one does say latte. But the new ones that come in the packs, they don't say what they are. So anyway, they're alcohol inks. I love the A4 pads, Carrie. I think they're amazing. So I'm just spraying with water first. And then I'm just going to drip my alcohol ink. And I love the way it does that. It just immediately starts spreading out. I'm a huge alcohol ink fan, in case you guys haven't noticed already. I love them. I keep an eye out on eBay for them. You can usually buy like a used lot on there for super cheap. So that's usually how I get mine. I'm gonna let it kind of run. It's gonna mix with that gesso, make a little softer color. Alright, so I'm gonna do a spot there. I'm gonna do one over here as well. Now, I always put my water down first because sometimes the alcohol ink will seep right down into the paper, even if you have gesso. And it'll just make like this splotch. And I'm out already of this color. No. Okay. We'll go to the caramel one. They're basically the same color. A little bit darker. No big deal. And again, just spraying it and letting it run. You know, I never used to shop on eBay, but my boyfriend, he's a big eBayer, so I was always thinking I would just get ripped off on there or something, but I've never done Amazon. I've never shopped on Amazon. I don't do a whole lot of online shopping, so. Okay, I'm going to get the down this side of the box, so hopefully y'all can see that. And I love using alcohol ink because it dries so quickly. So you can see the gesso, we got 2 layers of stencils going there, we got lots of yummy texture, and it's all subtle. I mean, it's not like super in your face, it's just a little subtle texture going on. That's what I love about mixed media is that, I mean, you can do it anyway. I mean, you go look at mixed media on Pinterest and you're going to get a gazillion different projects and color varieties. Everybody can just interpret it how they want. Sometimes I like to just use simple layers. Sometimes I go crazy. I'm definitely not a master at mixed media. I know we have some prima gals who are definitely masters. I'm not one of them. Alright, I think that is good enough on the alcohol ink for me. I usually go back at the end and on top of all of my embellishments, add a little bit more. But for now, this is what we have. Okay, I'm going to give it a quick heat set. We're going to add our micro beads, and then we get to start playing with the new flowers. And I am doing good on time for once. Online shopping will be the death of you, Julie. Now, I will say, when I worked at Michael's, I was manager at Michael's for about 1.5 years. And when I worked there, obviously, my paycheck went there most of the time. So since I have not been working there, I've saved a lot of money. I mean, it was just too easy. I would see the merchandise as it came out. So, of course, I'd be grabbing everything. We would be taking piles of new merchandise and hiding it. And you people that shop there probably don't want to hear that, but it definitely goes on. Okay, so this is dry enough. It's not perfectly dry, but that's okay. If the microbeads stick somewhere else, hey, we're going to let them do their thing. Okay, so what I'm going to do to get my microbeads to stick, and I've just started doing this recently, and I really like this, it gives me a little bit more control, is I'm going to be using liquid pearls. And even though I'm going to be using the gold microbeads, I'm going to use silver because it's going to get covered up anyway. Hello, I think that's Lydia that is on there. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining us. Hello, Carrie. Hello, anybody I have missed. Okay, so all I'm going to do is I just take my liquid pearls. You can use anything you have. That's not going to get covered, so I'm just going to start going along the edges here. Oh, of course it's going to be clogged up because I'm on live Ustream. There we go. Murphy's Law definitely applies to Ustreams. Alright, so I'm just going to start squeezing an amount out. Just a good little thick pile. Just anywhere I want my microbeads to go. So hopefully you guys can see that. Just adding a little pile of the liquid pearls. Now let me grab my container really quickly to add my microbeads into. Okay, so we have to have something to catch those bad boys because they are messy. And I'm going to be using the gold microbeads. Hello, Lydia. Thank you for joining. Alright, so I'm just going to tip it over my little container here and pour it on there. And then I just give it a couple of taps. And then you've got your microbeads on there. So hopefully y'all can see that. So for this project, I kind of wanted to accent my stencil, the wild roses. So I kind of went in between some of the petals with the pearls and just followed that shape and just kind of outlined it. And then just poured the microbeads on top. I think it's Delana who said to use felt under that, and I have not tried it yet, but I'm definitely going to. I mean, there's got to be a better way, because using this glass mat, these bad boys go everywhere. Alright, so I'm going to follow the shape of my stencil and just kind of go on the edges of it in a couple of different places. And then when we have our embellishments on, we can add more too. I do a little bit of it before, but then after I have everything on there, I add more. I should probably wait till the end so I don't waste any, but I'm obsessed with these micro beads, you guys. I cannot get enough of it. I love the look it gives. The mica flakes as well, but especially the micro beads. Yep, they work really well. The liquid pearls works really well. Plus, the reason I started using that was because I figured if I missed a spot with the beads, the liquid pearls would dry and look pretty anyway. So it's a win-win situation. But yeah, it works really well for an adhesive. All right, so hopefully, let's see if I can get my camera to focus on that. It's not wanting to show the details really quickly, but yes, it definitely adds a lot of fun shimmer. Like right there, you guys totally can't tell that, but I missed a spot with my beads, but the silver already looks cool, so we got no worries there. All right, we're gonna add a little bit to the base of the box, and then we're going to play with our new flowers. At first, I was gonna just cover the entire stencil with the micro beads, but I felt like it just kind of covered up the detail of the rose stencil. I'm a stencil fanatic, and I am so in love with these new stencils. These two in particular that I used tonight are amazing. So hopefully you can see that. I don't know if it's showing up well or not. Looks like it's not wanting to zoom for me. Usually my camera works extra well, but tonight it's being uncooperative. Okay, so I'm going to put those away for now. We'll add some more after we have our embellishments on, but for now, we are going to go ahead and start playing with our doll face flowers. Okay, so I wanted to show y'all this one that I've been playing with. This was like the first one I did. These guys are so much fun, you all. And it's really hard to tell, but I played with some different Prima stamps and like pulled each little petal out, added music notes to it. Let me move my lighting. Maybe that's the problem why I can't get the details to show. But hopefully y'all can see that I've got a little bit of the stamp on there. These things are so versatile. I absolutely love them. They are just so much fun. So on the box initially I used a different one. When we got these flowers, we got a sample of every pack. So this guy, Carrie can post it for you really quickly. I forget the exact name of this one, but the one I'm using tonight is the Norma resin face ones, and they look like this. So they're all just a little bit different, and then the face in the center is different. So the product number for this one is 583262, and I cannot remember the one I used here, but they're all kind of the same thing, just different shape, and then the little face in the middle is going to be a little bit different. So they're super fun. They're big, they're smaller ones. This one's super huge, which I have the middle of it out right now because you can just peel the middle off to do, you know, all your altering and add it back on. They're amazing, you guys. I'm so in love with these. I think they're so clever to come up with this. It's a really, really, really good idea. Okay, so I'm going to peel my flower off. Going to add some clear gesso because I do that to everything. Hello, Lisa. I'm so glad you made it, my dear. You got a commercial as soon as you logged on. Don't worry, I've had one of those weeks. It's been just a heck of a week for me, but I'm here. All right, so just make sure you lift up and get the bottom petals too. You know, a lot of people find like a blank flower intimidating, you know, but this is so much fun, you guys. It's just like a blank. I treat each one of these flowers as if they're just like a blank canvas. You can make each little flower like your own little work of art. Like I said, Delana was really clever with using the die cut doily on hers. I love that idea. It's just super cute. You can add so much fun detail to this. You can add real lace. They're just fun. I love them. I'm obsessed with them. Okay, I've got that clear gesso. Let me give it a quick heat set. Yeah, Sharon has just been out globe-trotting, Carrie. I am so glad she's having fun. But yeah, good job, Carrie, for filling in. You've been doing a really good job on the blog and stuff. Oh yeah, so you've had your hands full, Miss Carrie, and you still make time for us. You're awesome. You're amazing. Okay, so I've got it clear gessoed. And when you're adding mediums to these, if your petals start sticking together, do not worry about it because you can fix that, okay? So all I'm going to do is, again, spritz it with a little bit of water all the way around. And again, I'm adding alcohol inks. Forgot that one was out. Let me grab the next one. I'm just adding the alcohol ink and then spraying it, and it will spread because we've got it clear gessoed. I mean, you can put 2 layers of gesso. That would probably work better, just to make sure it's going to spread nice and evenly. You don't want like a big blob, basically. All right, and I even will spray the faces. Sometimes, depending on the look I want, I will add some to the faces. Other times I won't. For this one, I will. And the way it reacts is so cool. It just starts spreading out. And I feel like it just kind of lets the faces show a little more. Yes, Carrie is like doing everything right now. She's awesome. You can see her little face at the end of the blog post. That's how you can always tell who did the vlog for the day. She's been doing all those sneak peeks. All right. I like to have a little more alcohol ink coming out from behind the face. It just feels like it makes it more concentrated in the center. So it's kind of dark right now, but once it dries, it's going to lighten up a lot. So I'm going to give it a heat set again. And I just lift up the petals as I go, just so they keep a good shape. And the one that I initially did, this one, I was heat setting it so much and adding so many layers, I reactivated the glue, and the little doll face might come up. All you gotta do is just wait for it to cool down, push it right back down. Of course, nobody's using a big heavy-duty paint stripper like me either, so. You rock it, Carrie. You rock everything. And that layout you just did with the special delivery kit, that layout is so amazing. I'm so in love with that layout. Okay, so now, let me make sure it's dry enough. We might set this to the side and come back to it before we do the micro beads. I hate to waste time heat setting, but it needs it. She didn't worry at all. She only called you once. That is hilarious. She knew you were going to do a good job. That's why. She didn't have to worry about it. Okay, so if you can tell on this little guy, since we do have a little face on there, I thought how cute would it be to just totally embellish the face. So I'm a huge fan of all the Ingold Bohm range, the Junkyard Finding, Shabby Chic Treasures. So I used the Steampunk Air, and I only had one of the goggles. So I'm going to have to tear it off of this guy's face and then put it on the other one. But this is the one I'm going to use. And let me get the product number really quickly because I have it written down over here. 1 second, y'all. Well, maybe I don't. Okay, scratch that. I'm going to let Carrie give y'all that one. I've got half of the number here. It's 891 something, okay? But it's the Steampunk Air Junkyard Findings. I thought I had my whole list here, but I'm slacking. Okay, scratch that. Anyway, I'm going to pull the goggles off of there, but I love these big goggles, but for this face, it's just, I don't know, it might actually fit this one, but this one, it was definitely too small. So let me go ahead and hijack this one's goggles. Sorry, little buddy, don't be mad at me. I'm going to need some scissors. He's going to be mad at me for taking his glasses away. But we got to share. We have to share your goggles tonight. And of course, it's not wanting to come off because I glued it on there really well. There we go. Okay. All right. So these are the little baby goggles, which are just adorable. I love, love, love that line. Yes, I'm using a paint stripper. I'm sorry, y'all. Maybe I should use a regular heat gun for this, but it's just so much easier for me to use that one. Okay. So this is perfect for her. It was actually a little too big for the other face, but for the Norma face dolls, it's absolutely perfect. So play with these guys and have fun with it. Add whatever you can to it. Super fun. All right, I'm going to use some of the 3D matte gel to adhere this down. And all I'm going to do is add just a glob. I love my technical terms, glob. I'm just going to add a glob to like the center of her nose area. And then just tuck them right there on her, because there's a little piece of leather right there in the middle, and it will catch that matte gel and it will make them stay as soon as it dries. For now it's going to be a little wobbly, but once it dries it's good. Let me put a little more. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we've got our little goggles on there, making it a little steampunk flower. Don't you guys just love the commercials? They drive me nuts too. Sorry, Kieran. Okay, to add some dimension to the flower, I wanted to add some clock faces. And I always use these guys. They are just super fun. This is probably my biggest used item. And the item number for these is 891596. I use these clock faces constantly. They're just super fun. They're a staple. So I'm going to cut them in half. And since this flower is a little different than the other one had 3 layers of petals. This one only has 2. I might actually add a smaller one in there. But all I did, I'm going to cut a little bit more off. Let me add it up here on the box so you guys can get a closer view of what I am doing. Got the goggles on her. So I'm just kind of lifting up the petals, and I'm going to glue the clock pieces in there as if they are just part of the petal. You can add so many things to these flowers just to customize them, and I love that about it. Alright, so I'm making sure you can see it really well. You can even bend. These are thin enough that you can even bend them like a real petal. I mean, you could curl the edges down and everything. So they're super, super flexible. Alright, so I'm gluing one over there. This one I might go right under here. And then, yeah, I think I'm going to use a smaller one to go right underneath the face on this one. So just adding some extra detail. And once these petals dry, they'll kind of come up and you'll be able to see them more. So hopefully you guys can see that. I know my lighting is not doing very well tonight. Let me move it a little bit. So we've got our little flower going on. Let me get these smaller, see if I have a smaller clock face over here. Once I open a package, I just kind of have these bins where I throw all my little goodies in there. I'm going to cut one of these smaller ones. And I think I want one of them coming out from behind the face. Definitely. Okay. Put this back up here. Yep. I'm going to tuck this guy right under the little resin face. And like I said, if you want to do some real heavy-duty altering to these flowers, you can pull the little face off and glue it back on there. I did that on a couple of them. Well, good job, Miranda. And you took her goggles off. Now she can't see. Alright, let me add some more glue. Whenever I'm live, everything falls off. It never fails. It's like nothing will adhere. There we go. I think I just didn't have enough. Okay, I'm going to add this one over here somewhere, maybe. I don't know. I might leave it like that. I think we'll just do one extra one. And then as these petals dry more, they'll kind of curl up. Okay, so I'm going to set that to the side. So here's what we have so far. And when it dries, we can fluff the petals up and they will kind of spring back to life. Okay, now I'm going to grab one of the new flower sprays. These are the Esperanza sprays, and on the original project I used the cream toned ones, and it was 581930, and I'll show you the leftover flowers from it. They were like a cream toned one, but the thing is, every single spray is exactly the same minus the color. So all I have to do is peel off this center one, because I'm not using it anyway. Just going to pull off that center pink flower because it doesn't really match. And then there's a little wire that's kind of attaching these. So I'm just going to unattach these guys. Grab my scissors. I love this flower spray. It is super, super cute. I love that you can cut it apart. They take the mediums very, very well. We're going to add alcohol inks to these as well. They're just super, super cute. Okay, so that's the color of the ones I initially used, but they're all the same. They all have this same spray on each side. Super cute. Okay, so again, I'm going to go in with some clear gesso. Let me wipe off my paintbrush. And I'm going to add a good amount to these petals because we're going to be alcohol inking them. And I love these little like stamen clusters coming off the end. I don't know if that's really what they're called, but that's what I'm calling them. They're so fun. Let me get some more clear gesso. I don't know what I would do without clear gesso. It is my #1 staple item for sure. All right, so I'm adding a good amount to the leaves. You can kind of, they're all wired, so you can bend them, you can change the shape, get them to go the direction you want. They're very flexible. And then just bend them back. And then I'm getting the flowers really well too, because we're going to get some alcohol ink on there and some more micro beads. So just making sure everything's got clear gesso. And a very liberal amount. Okay, I'm going to give this a quick heat set. Scorpions. What is a scorpion? Who has scorpions? Does someone have scorpions? There's no way. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night either. The worst thing I've had happen to me is in the middle of the night one time, Chris woke me up by like moving, and I could tell he was startled about something. And he literally was like, don't move. And of course, I'm going to move. I'm going to start freaking out as soon as he says that. There was a centipede crawling on my chest. I have never seen one since then in our house, in our area, but there was a big centipede crawling on me. I mean, it was literally like a nightmare. I thought I was going to die. Scariest thing ever. I couldn't sleep after that. I'm very much a girly girl when it comes to bugs and stuff. Oh, it's terrible. Yeah, Tiffy, you live in the desert, so you guys probably have all that good stuff. Okay, making sure my gesso is spread out and not clumpy. So it will dry. Okay, now we're going to add some alcohol ink to this as well. This green color just didn't really match my paper line, so I'm really going to go crazy with the alcohol ink here. I'm going to add some regular gesso too, just white gesso, because this pretty green color would look great on shabby chic projects, but for mine it didn't match. So I'm going in with a bunch of white gesso on the leaves, leaving some of it green because when the alcohol ink hits it, it will react differently to different areas and you'll get like a color variation. So just kind of going on there like that, real messy like. Oh, Julie, it was bad. I mean, I died. And oh, I forgot. Chris loves to just terrify me with bugs because he knows how afraid of them I am. One night he caught a spider that was like this big around. I am not joking. I have a picture of it on my Instagram somewhere. He caught it outside, puts it in a Ziploc bag to bring it in and show me. And as he's showing it to me in the bed, it bit through the bag and gets out. So this monster spider is on the loose in our house, but I got it, so. All right, I'm adding a little bit of water and just spraying it to the center of the petal and then adding a couple of drops of alcohol ink. Not doing the whole thing, just kind of concentrating it on the center area. And once it dries, it just looks really, really pretty. Kind of covering up that green stamen part, basically. All right, so hopefully you guys can see that. Scorpion hunts at nighttime. Don't they glow in the dark? Am I correct about? Maybe you have to have a light or something, the black light, but I'm pretty sure they glow. Feels like I've seen documentaries on that before. Oh, Carrie, I wanted to kill him so bad. And then he tried to lie. Like, I saw it get out of the bag, and he's like, no, 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 I got it. And he acts like he throws it outside. But I knew he didn't, you know, so I was even more mad at him for trying to lie about it. So I had to get up and find it. It was the biggest bug ever. Okay, so I'm completely dousing these leaves in alcohol ink, just completely changing the color. So you can see the difference here between the two colors. But the brown look just matches a lot better the color of the debutante paper. So I'm just being very generous with my alcohol ink. I did want to get my little stamens. I did leave those white, so I'm just kind of moving those out of the way. They bend up too, so I love these sprays. Any Vine from Prima is always my favorite. Vine sprays, they're definitely my favorite item ever by Prima. I just think they make projects come together so quickly and so easily. All right, you guys, I think as soon as that dries, we can actually start adding our embellishments onto the box. Be careful when you're heat setting these too, because you can get these, the little pearl stamens, they'll kind of start drooping if you get them too hot. And we don't want that. Thank you, Carrie. Yeah, these are definitely alterable. You can make these fit anything. The color they come in is absolutely gorgeous for your shabby chic projects, but when you're using like a bolder paper line, you're going to need to change them up a little bit. Okay, so let's grab our box here. And we are just going to start adding our clusters. So all I did was add one back here. Let me get a little darker color on some of the ends, just a little more variation. Alcohol ink dries so quickly, so I don't have to worry about heat setting it. Just seems like it's all the same color, and that's not working for me. I like layers. All right, that looks better. Okay, so I just added a darker one just to kind of add a little bit of interest. Okay, so I'm going to start adhering them along the edge of my box, and I'm just going to use hot glue to do so because this whole area is kind of going to be one big cluster. It's going to have a couple different layers of hot glue. So I'm just kind of setting it there, spreading it out. I'm going to hold my flower up here and see where I need to place my next one. And this flower is still pretty wet, so. All right, we're going to go ahead and add our flower so it is in there and we don't have to worry about it. And it really needs to hurry and dry just so I can show y'all how fun this looks when your petals start kind of fluffing back up again. It starts looking really cool. Right now they're all flat and droopy. So this is what we have so far. We've got our focal point, the doll face flower, and we're going to do the spray around it. So I'm going to add a little bit more hot glue right here. And I'm going to add this spray coming out of the bottom. I love when Adrienne does sprays. She does such a good job of floral arranging. I really struggle sometimes with arranging my flowers. And, you know, being Prima, that's kind of like, that's just against the rules. So this is what we have so far. You can kind of fluff these up as they dry. I'm going to turn it my way for 1 second just so I can get my orientation right. I'm going to add a little bit of hot glue under that layer of flour so it will kind of pop it up a little more. Yep, I like that already. Okay, so I'm going to grab a couple of the embellishments we're going to be using. We're going to be using some of the Shabby Chic Treasure resin frames. These are a staple. I love them so much. And the item number is 892111. Okay, and I'm going to be using the larger oval frame. It looks like this. Oh, Kathy, don't even get me started on coyotes. They literally ruined my life a while back. They got into our yard and attacked my baby, so I do not like coyotes at all right now. So I'm going to tuck this in underneath the flower. So it's going to be half in and half out. It's going to be just like that. So I'm going to turn it this way while I glue it. And again, I'm using hot glue. Anytime I can get away with using hot glue, I'm going to use it. I know some people just can't stand it, but it's really quick and I'm impatient. So, and when you stick that under there, it's going to really make this flower kind of pop up more and give it more dimension already. So I love that it does that. Okay, I did die cut a butterfly. We talked about it at the beginning of the show. It is a Spellbinders die. But you can use any punch or butterfly die you have, whatever you want to use. All right, and I'm using, this is the side of the paper that we put on the box. I'm using the back side, which is a beautiful print as well. You can hardly see that at all, but it's a really cool design back there. All right, I'm going to put a little bit of clear gesso on it, just in case some alcohol ink gets on it. And it's got this square part here in the center, so I'm just going to fold it on that line on each side. Yeah, oh, it's okay. Don't worry. I've got to the point where I'm okay with what happened, but I just don't like coyotes. So if I ever see one, it better watch out. All right, so I'm going to kind of bend the ends of the butterfly. I'm an animal lover. Like, oh, I'm such an animal lover. I don't have kids yet, so of course my animals are my babies, just like everybody else, I'm sure. All right, so I'm adding this to the center of that frame, kind of up on the top part of it for a little bit of added dimension. And again, I just used hot glue. So I'm just putting it on there like that. There's this memory box die, I think it is. Tiffany, you have it, I believe. Oh, I love it so much. It's got this beautiful butterfly die. I don't typically buy a lot of dies. I love the Prima ones, the flowers and stuff, and the doilies. Other than that, though, I'm not a big die cut person. All right, I'm going to use some of these Shabby Chic Treasures, the butterflies. I think I use these on every single project. I love them so much. The number is 891992. We're going to be using this guy. I love that they gave you different angles for the butterflies instead of all just one way. I absolutely love that. And then I'm going to be using the larger one. Nope, I'm not going to be using this one. It's hard to keep up. I'm going to be using this one as well. And I'm going to break this one in half, just like that. It usually snaps very cleanly right down the middle. And that just makes it easier to adhere to the inside there, and I can make it dimensional. So again, I'm going with hot glue. I'm putting it right on the center, and then just putting it right in the middle of my die cut. Kieran is awesome. Kieran and Delana have both been so helpful with everything. I appreciate it, ladies. Yeah, I see color too. You, Carrie, and Delana, I think, are highlighted. Okay, so that is what we have so far. And I'm really sorry, but my lighting is just bugging me tonight. It's like it's not letting the camera focus. Okay, so now to the center of that, we are going to use some of these Stamp and Ads from Ingold Bohm. Let me grab it over here. Well, it just disappeared on me. Oh, it's right in front of me. It's literally right here, and I'm looking everywhere for it. That is really funny. Okay, the number is 892500. I'm so in love with these Stamp and Ads. I can't stand it. So for this, we're going to be using the little screw piece. And we're going to be adding it to the center of this butterfly. And the other one kind of just tucked down in there, and I didn't even need to add glue. But I think I need to add just a little drop of glue right there. There we go. And it just tucks right on there. We're going to add some alcohol ink to kind of bring that out. Okay, let's see. What are we missing? We've got that. We need to add our little butterfly right here. Let me turn it my way really quickly so I can get my orientation right. We're going to add one little butterfly coming out of this little flower cluster. I cannot believe we are almost done. It's an hour, so I'm going to be a little over, but hey, this is going to be like a record for me. Alright, so I'm just holding it upright until the hot glue dries. That way it stays dimensional like I want it to. I love that hot glue. You can use it to kind of add dimension to projects. Alright, so I'm going to straighten that little spray out, and it's just kind of tucking out right there. Hopefully you can see that. Alright, now we are going to decorate this part of our box. And we're going to put like a little faux clasp there, just like I did on this one. I mean, it doesn't really keep the box from opening, but it looks like it does, so it's really cute. The clasp comes out so you can open it. All right, we're going to use some of the Shabby Chic Treasure door signs. I love, love, love these. The item number is 892319. And let me see which one I used on this one. I used the number 24. So just to switch it up, I'm going to use Care. Just for something different. And I usually just cut them out so I can keep the whole package hanging up. I'd love to see how everybody stores their Prima supplies. I'm sure we all have different ways of doing it. All right, so these are pretty pliable too. I'm just kind of using my finger to bend it as much as I can. You can kind of push it and bend it just a little bit so it'll go around the box a little better. You got to put a little force to it, but it will bend. Okay, let me find my foam adhesive. Because I found that to be the best way to add that. And of course, there it is. Okay. I wish you guys could see the mess that I create during these Ustream shows. It is so bad. My boyfriend will come in afterwards and just shake his head. Like, what did you do? Kieran, I think you did too. That's very true, Julie. And you know, I have a whole stash of packaging, and I keep thinking I'm going to use it on something, but I haven't yet. But you're right, I probably shouldn't do that. Alright, so I just added a dimensional foam piece, and I just find that works best for adhering metal on this curved surface. My light is giving me grief tonight, so hopefully you guys can see that. Just adding it right there to the side. Alright, now we're going to get our latch out, and I have to say these door latches or door locks, they're probably like my favorite thing ever. They're brilliant. I absolutely love these so much. So we're going to be using this guy right here, and let me find the item number for that because I have it cut off. And why am I not seeing that one either? There we go, 892425. Julie, you totally have a really valid point. I'm going to start saving my packaging. For those of you who do mini albums, I know, and so I've seen some really cool ideas using the packaging. So for this little latch piece, I'm going to put a little baby foam adhesive on this and put it down there. And then the rest we're just going to hot glue on. So I'm going to do the top part first. Hopefully I can show y'all. I'm just going to put it right there with a little bit of hot glue. Yeah, I have a whole box of leaves. I have a whole box of Prima packaging. I keep thinking I'll do like a mixed media canvas and add all the packaging as the background, but I haven't done it yet. Okay, so for the top part, I just used hot glue to add it on there. And for the bottom piece, I'm going to put a little, the reason I'm putting foam adhesive on it is because this top piece is, you know, it's further away than the bottom is. So we need something to make the bottom part of the latch reach there because we've got a gap here. So I'm going to use a little piece of foam adhesive. I used to never use these, but now I swear by them. And they work so well on metal. It's really surprising. And did you guys see that Prima now has double-sided tape? I don't know if you guys have been watching the sneak peeks, but literally Prima has it all now. So I'm just going to add this in here. It's part of Frank's Memory hardware line. If I'm saying that wrong, forgive me. But I'm pretty sure that's what it was part of. And that is just too cool. Prima literally has everything. Okay, so I'm just adding the latch right there. So now it looks like you have to use that, but you really don't. Okay, so my last step is to go in with alcohol inks and some more micro beads, and we are good to go. Oh, one more step. I added a little bit of trim, and I just used the bubblegum wax cord. The item number is 576776, and I literally just had like a piece of this. I'd been making dream catchers from the last show, so I had just like a little scrap piece of one. So all I did was start making a circle. I've seen so many ladies do the whole thread thing on their projects, and I've always loved it, but I've never tried it. So I was totally inspired by that. And I just grabbed it and started making little loops. Bigger ones, smaller ones. I love to see the ladies using all the thread and stuff. It adds such great texture. So I'm just making a series of loops like that. I'm going to use some hot glue again. and burn my fingers off in the process, because that's just what I do. I'm gonna do it then, you guys. I totally am gonna do that. That's gonna be my next project. I'm gonna incorporate that in, because I literally have like a drawer full of it. I have so much, it's crazy. Prima does such a good job with their packaging. Like, you don't just have ugly packaging that you throw away. So you've got to find creative ways to use it, right? All right, so all I'm doing is kind of finding a place to tuck it in at. Probably end up doing it right under the flower. And just going to use a little bit of hot glue. And then we can kind of finagle it and get it to lay how we want. But for now, we're just going to tuck it right there. I'm going to use this petal to push down on top of it. That way it doesn't show the big hot glue spot. You got to get kind of clever when you're covering up your hot glue. And then it doesn't want to fall exactly over the side of the box like I wanted it to. It kind of tends to stick out. So I think all I did was take one strand, the bigger one, yep, and I'm just going to add a tiny dot of hot glue right here. And I'm going to take my longest strand and just kind of pull it down and just let it sit for a second. And it kind of made all the other ones just kind of fall over the side with it. The special delivery kits are amazing, you guys. I got the first one this month, June's box. Well, it was for last month. It was so amazing. And this is coming from a girl who lives on the beach, and I usually don't like beach themed stuff, but let me tell you, it was awesome. I'll show you the little ship I did if we have time. Okay, so we have all of our embellishments on here. All we have left to do is add a little bit more alcohol ink and some of the gold microbeads. Okay, so I'm going to spray the center of that. Lisa, you said you were going to bust yours out, so I'm ready to see what you do with it. I'm going to add a little bit to the center of there, a little bit to this guy, just kind of going in random places with my alcohol inks. Not being very careful. Had a little spill up there, but you know what? It looks pretty cool, so I'm going to leave it. But I'm big on putting it in the center of places. For some reason, I feel like it just gives it added dimension. All right, so that is good for me. This flower's still not dry like I would like it to be, but hey, we're gonna roll with it. All right, our last step is to add some micro beads. We're just gonna go in with our liquid pearls again. Use some of that to add micro beads and a few randomly placed mica flakes, and we're gonna be good to go. So this is what we have so far. So again, I'm using liquid pearls to do this. This is just a method that I found that really gives me a lot of control. So like you can kind of go into the center of these little flowers, add a good little amount there. I like to go along the tips of the flowers too. I feel like that just kind of gives it an added bonus. I don't know if you can see that yet, but when I add the micro beads, hopefully you will. Okay. So then I'm just going to pour those in my flower. And then tap the excess out. What just fell? A little latch piece came out. We'll fix that in a second. Okay, so hopefully you can see inside of that flower now. It's got the micro beads. Why is my camera not focusing on it? Okay, if I add more, maybe we will. So on the sides of this flower, to add even more dimension to it, we're going to add some micro beads there. So I'm just going to take my liquid pearls and go along the edges of my flower, being pretty generous with it. I'm going to go ahead and do a couple of the petals all at one time. Let's see here. We'll add a little bit back there and a little bit here. Okay, so I've got liquid pearls along the edges of my flower, and I'm just going to pour the micro beads, kind of let it move around. You got to kind of tilt your box around, otherwise you're going to have a huge mess, which I already do, but this will stop it from being as bad. Alright, just tap your excess, and then hopefully you can see, let me move that out of the way really quickly, the added texture that it gives your flower. So that petal there is covered in the micro beads. It just adds a lot of Really pretty dimension and texture. So I've got it along those petals. Add a little more to that one. It's kind of showing more liquid pearls than it is the beads. Okay. Gonna add a little bit to the edges, and then other than that, I mean, you can add as much or as little as you want, but I just think it adds such a pretty contrast. All right, so we're good with those. You can add more or less depending on what you want. And our last step is to add a few mica flakes. And I love using these. They are so pretty. So I'm using the gold mica flakes, and the item number is 961756, and it's called Gold Leaf. These are adorable. Hello, hello. Yes, I love using liquid pearls. They're just amazing. Okay, so I'm literally just going to randomly put a dot of pearl. And I usually just use my fingers and just take 1 or 2 mica flakes and just push it on there. Just randomly throughout. Yeah, we used a lot of products on this. A lot of mediums, a lot of the stencils. Okay, I'm going to add a couple on the flower. I love the whole Finnabair Art Basics range. Super fun. Super, super fun. All right, I'm going to add a couple on this side, and then we are done, y'all. And then I will be seeing you guys again in August with the special delivery kit, which I'm excited to do. I'm so gung-ho about them now. You literally get this beautiful box. Everything matches. You just pull it out. You don't have to worry about what you're going to use. It's super fun. I love the special delivery boxes. If you have not got one, you totally need to. All right, let me put this plastic back in because it came out. And then I will show you guys what we have. So here is our finished box. Hopefully you can see the texture and the micro beads and everything that we have going on. So everything is a little wet still, and it always kind of turns a different color when it dries. It kind of gets a little bit lighter, like you can see that one compared to this one. This one's a lot lighter. So as the colors dry and the alcohol inks dry, it will kind of change. So that's our original one. And then this is the one we've recreated. I think I might have even gone in with a little bit of gesso at the end. Who knows? You kind of get lost in the process sometimes. So I hope you guys like what we created tonight. I did record it. I'm glad I remembered to record it. But yeah, the special delivery kit, you guys, I cannot wait to show you next month's. I will show you my little boat I made with this one. So if you guys have not got the June one, you totally have to. It's got so many pretty things in it. I'd love to do something like this for a live with Prima, but it is so involved. There's no way I could get this done in an hour, 2 hours. It takes forever. So this all came from the box except for the ship itself. Everything else came from the box, and I love that. You can just grab that box and go. Okay, so I hope everybody had a great night. I hope you learned something, anything. I will be adding my last piece to the back of the box, I promise. Thank you all so much for coming out. Lisa, I know you like that boat. I'm going to get Chris to part with it. I've got you and another lady that I've promised I'm going to give you this boat. Chris loves it though. I hope you guys learned something. If you have any questions, shoot me a message on Facebook. I'll be more than willing to answer it. Thank you so much for coming out. I'm going to hit stop record really quickly. And I really appreciate y'all coming out tonight to support me. I can't do layouts that well, but I like to do altered projects. So one day I'll do a layout on here and you guys can laugh with me because I'm so clueless on what to do, but thank you so much. I admire you ladies who do layouts because I can't do them that well, but that well at all. Step Brothers, that is so funny. Yes, I remember that. Okay, everybody, I'm going to hit stop record and go spend some time with my family because they're all here. Thank you so much for coming out and have a lovely night. I hope you like the little box we did. You get your hands on these doll face flowers because they're amazing. You guys will love them. So have a great night. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Kieran. Thank you, Delana, for modding. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.